Like we're very close. Now we're very far, but we are here.
We're here.
Yes. I'm Jason.
I'm Peely.
This is a second cup of coffee. Okay, just Peely doesn't want to mess around. We're just. All right, so we are here. Second cup of coffee. Minus Peely just keeps drinking my coffee, so I've been limited on coffee because Peely's drinking my coffee. Say la vie. We are here. It is a great day to
have coffee.
Perfect.
Talk about money.
Talk about money. Sure.
Talk about aloha.
Talk about aloha.
Always
sure.
A good time to talk about aloha, but it is also always a good time to talk about money because so much. I grew up being uncomfortable about money. I don't know why, because my father was actually very open about money, very open about finances, very open about the way he was very, very fiscally conservative. He believed in like paying for things as much as you can outright. And he was always very open about it. So I'm not sure where it happened, where I became uncomfortable about it. But I think it's a thing that happens a lot to a lot of people.
How are you today? We just jumped into it. So
I just jumped into it. I'm actually really good.
You're ready to go. So
I'm like, let's talk about money. I'm gonna get over this like bad money mindset and just jump into it. I'm actually really good. How are you? I'm
good too. Yeah. So Peely and I, most mornings, she's got the kiddos doing all the lessons on life with kiddos. I think today they were learning about chrysalis and
butterflies.
Butterflies, right?
We got it's called insect lore.
Is it chrysalis or chrysalis?
I think it's chrysalis.
I did a play called Chrysalis.
Well, if that's like that's the shell that caterpillar puts over itself to become a butterfly. So that actually sounds like a really cool play.
Yeah, and it's a great metaphor for life, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that the whole evolution of a butterfly to see what becomes of that, but I digress.
But just the chrysalis is the home that the caterpillar makes itself so it can create this metamorphosis. So it's we could go deep into butterflies. Anywho, so I decided to focus on butterflies because we went to insectlore.com and got 5 caterpillars. And these caterpillars basically live inside this little jar, eat, and form this chrysalis. And then I just took the chrysalis out. Here.
We have caterpillars? Yeah. We have caterpillars.
Well, we actually have almost butterflies because they've already formed the chrysalis.
Okay.
And I put it inside their little, their little thing. And the netting, and then as soon as the butterflies come out, we feed it for a couple of days, and then we'll have a big release party.
All right. Wait, what is that going to look like?
The butterflies just fly away.
Okay.
But it'll be really exciting for the kids.
That sounds like planning for most of our celebrations right now. We celebrate, things fly away, and on to the next right there. So
okay, so money.
Yeah, most people are uncomfortable with talking about money, and that's most of life, right? We've been ingrained that's not a conversation we had. It's not part of most school systems, although we did have Tiffany Alicia on, who's amazing, my friend from high school. She put together she actually had what we call a law put in place where now part of middle school is financial education being taught. But we all can do this, right? We all can talk with our kids and just be open, because why not set people up to have the ability to succeed, right? And so you have to look at your options. You have to understand what's out there, and you have to constantly be learning. So now the focus on money can set you the wrong way too, right? So if you get so set on it, it can really not just create a fulfilling life. And that's why sometimes you'll see people with a lot of money, they're so unhappy because there's never enough, or supposedly never enough. So, but it's just understanding on what it's used for. I mean, it's currency to pass through.
I just had an aha moment.
Okay.
I know why I started having such difficulty with money, because I was taught to basically pay for things. You work, you make money, you save a little, you spend a little, you give as much as you can. So that's how my mindset worked. Debt never came into play. I never had debt. I didn't have debt until late into my 20s because I never had a credit card. My father didn't believe in really having credit cards and using them. So I don't think I ever learned it. I'm not, Dad, if you're listening to this, I'm not blaming you at all. Thank you for the financial education you did give me. You are amazing. But I needed to learn how to manage debt. And so much of our youth, we dive into getting debt, going to college, taking on all this debt, getting credit cards for the first time. And all of a sudden we have like a plethora of money at our hands.
Well, colleges got expensive when loans could come in place, right? So if you look back before this was out there, financial assistance, school wasn't that expensive, right?
It wasn't
expensive. But now it gets pushed a narrative, and imagine they took that away, and it's one of the few things that you can never get over. I think if someone goes bankrupt, the student loan debt never goes away. So it's looking at debt. What can debt do to help you evolve and push forward your life? And what's bad debt, right? So maybe bad debt would be like financing a TV. Right, or financing something that you can't, that's not a cash producing asset. So you want to finance things that can really bring value to you in your life.
Yes. So just learning, just what Jason said, learning what bad debt is, what good debt is, that there's actually good debt, that you don't have to think about money matters in such a negative sense. Yes, use your credit card, up your credit, but remember to pay off that credit card and don't spend more than what you make.
Don't spend more than what you make. That's simple. But where do people fall? They don't know how much their expenses are per month. Just because it's no one's gonna not. Everyone said, I'm not smart with money. Well, you're choosing not to look at it. So okay, let me just look what I spent last month. Just do that, right? Let me look what I spent the month before. Okay, now I know how much I spent, and is there things that I shouldn't have spent on, or it was maybe a one-time thing that I had to spend on, so I had to, change tires in my car or something. Okay, so that's not going to happen every month. Okay, so I can take that out. So what are my recurring expenses for me to live my life? And now, okay, at least I can gauge there. Well, what else am I spending there that really isn't necessary that I'm doing? And does it fit what I'm doing within my lifestyle, right? So if I make a certain amount of income and I'm spending double that, well, there's some kind of problem here. Either you need to find a way to make more income to live that lifestyle, or go back the other way of just retracting some of those things. So, we're constantly playing the game here for just doing things just to see if they work. Gary Vee was talking a lot about just like find things to sell. So I was like, let's just see if it works, right? So we sold a couple just random things. Had someone talking about Turo. So we've had a car sitting here because we haven't been driving much because we've been working from the home office. So I've had a car sitting here for 3 months, put a car up in Turo that we just rented and basically made our payments back almost for the month already within 5 days of the car being out. So, but like these little things work, right? It's pretty funny when you do these things. I don't know the durability of it, but I guess if you got a fleet of cars and you got like 10 cars outside and you're doing this constantly, you're renting these cars out, maybe someone can make a business out of it. But there's other ways there where you can just, make these little bits of money coming in that can cover some expenses. Or if you're in your job and you're very busy with your job, then it's either that job's going to push you forward and you can change up, your spending habits, your living habits, or other.
Well, and just to dive into what you said about Turo, I know you and I were talking yesterday at some point, like how we can put these different we always talk about pillars of wealth, but there's also these like mini pillars of like, maybe I can make $50 here. Maybe I can make $200 here. It's not going to be stuff. It's not going to be an amazing amount of money, but hey, it'll pay for your groceries this month. It'll pay for your water bill this month. It'll pay for your car payments. So if we have this extra car and we can safely let others use it, then why not make that extra little bit of extra money?
Yeah, and there's things like infinite banking, right? So if you look at like programs like that, where it's basically you're still making the dividend you have now. You can take that money, you can reinvest it. That can cover your payment. There's lots of things you can do out there in your life. But right now, if you don't have savings and you're saying I'm not smart, well, yeah, just turn around and say, well, why aren't I smart? And turn the narrative around and say, okay, well, maybe I'm just not looking at what I'm spending. So yeah, okay, maybe that's not smart. So let's just look at what am I spending? And at the end of the month, do I have more money left over or not? And if I don't, okay, why not? Am I eating out, 18 of the 30 days a month? Or is there something else that I'm spending all my money on? And a lot of banks break these down. Like you spent, 20% of your income or 20% of the money here on electronics, or your credit card statements would do that. So almost they do the work for you. You can just pull that open and look at it. Like, okay, I have these coming in. You can do things like Mint or what are some other sites that you can tie? Credit Karma would sell most of that, like on that part. But Mint, you can put all your or your accounts in there, and then and then really that can kind of lead you to what is being spent each month, so you can get a better idea on that front. So there's ways that you can tie all this together so you can really allocate correctly and say, okay, maybe this is my spending pool, maybe this is my savings pool, maybe this is my investments pool, and this is my expense pool, and this is my tithing pool. So now you have a couple of different pools of resources. And then another step is relationships, talking. So I pretty much handle it, but then you got to a certain point where I was like, well, I'm just going to start telling POE everything just to make sure she knows, So again, like, not anything's going to happen to me, but if something happened to me, I want to know that POE knows where everything is, right? So knows where things are, right? And so she's prepared to be able to make the necessary decisions at that point. So, okay, yes, we have life storage, or we have this or that,
So let's explain that a little bit more. It sounds like I just kind of let Jason do everything. Not
at all.
No. So
Absolutely not at all.
Jason likes to play with the money more than I do. So he tells me, I'm going to invest in this, or we're going to invest in that. All I'm thinking is
like Scrooge McDuck, where like I'm jumping. That's absolutely not the case.
Okay.
Yeah.
But don't you wish you could have like jumped into like a pile of like, actually, now that I think about it, that's probably really dirty. Yeah. Never mind.
Pre-COVID, post-COVID. Yeah.
Like when you're 10 and you see Scrooge McDuck diving into all that gold, you're just like, that looks like a lot of fun and sparkly. Anywho, have that conversation together between a couple. Usually there's a tendency for one to be more financially savvy than the other, or if you're both financially savvy, that's great. But my brain power is going to elsewhere. It's going to other things. But have that conversation. If there is spending happening that, for instance, if all of a sudden our Amazon bill like goes sky high, don't just like get angry about it. Whoever is actually looking at the bills all the time, have that conversation, be like, what happened here? And usually I'll be like, well, that was groceries. This is the one thing that we bought for the kids. This was the other thing. Mm-hmm. These things probably didn't need to get. Let's try and lower it again. And make sure that you are having that communication. If one is more family and one is more business, know what is happening in both avenues.
Well, you set your parameters, right? Because sometimes it's not efficient. Like, we're to sit here and make every single decision together.
No.
There's a certain point where nothing's going to get done. Like, we can talk about the conversation in front of hand, so we talk about the investments you go into, talk on those other points. Mm-hmm. But for investing in stocks and stuff, I'm not running downstairs to say, okay, this is what I'm thinking about doing. Like, we already know the context of what we're doing. We're not overspending. We're not putting ourselves out there. We're not over leveraging. We're keeping ourselves within range of what we want to do that fits our investments, right? So it fits our lifestyle. There may be some people that are potentially younger that they want to be more risky, right? Because they don't have the family at that point. There may be people that are older that are trying to be much more conservative, right? Because they're at that stage where they're preparing for that next step, or they're older and they don't have to pay for college anymore. Maybe they're being more risky. Who knows? But now our fact, it's that you want to communicate with each other, so each is completely involved to just have a say if they want, right? And so POE, you question correctly on things that either you're unsure of or you don't know enough about. Mm-hmm. And then on that fact, it allows me to give better answers, especially even to myself. Why are we doing this?
And I also wanted to talk about, and this kind of goes with what we're talking about, is don't do this when it comes to finances, especially if you're in a couple. Don't go, la, 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 he's handling or she's handling it. I'm going to be in this lane. Make sure, whether you're taking care of your own finances, your family finances, make sure if something's difficult or wrong, talk it out. Either talk it out together, find a fiduciary that you can talk to your banker, ask for help. The problem, I think, by large, the difficulty is when people get into this financial straits, financial, hole, they keep on digging themselves deeper. Get a ladder, find a rope, find a way to dig yourself out, because you need to make that choice.
Well, yeah, if times are tough, right, the hardest thing to do would presumably just look at everything, right? Because, okay, I don't want to look at everything because that's bringing me to pain right now. But short term is pain unless you let it just linger on, right? And so, okay, let's just look at it. Let's just get it out of the way, figure it out. And okay, can I make a plan here? Or can I ask someone else who potentially maybe can I make a plan with?
And we've definitely been in that position before where Jason and I have had to sit down and been like, okay, how can we cut the fat? And we had to like put everything down.
Yeah, and you do that in good and bad times.
Yes.
So don't just wait for the bad
Not
times.
only
So
the bad times.
yeah, we do in a good time. Just say like, okay, like, do we need to eat out this much? Like there was stuff, and that actually, you know, no, it's kind of annoying to me. We
don't need to go eating. We don't need to eat out all the time. We don't need to order out all the time. What we needed to do, especially when COVID happened, we couldn't really eat out anymore, and it was kind of sketchy to order food from restaurants at the beginning because you didn't know what was happening. You really had to, I had to really like plan and make sure, okay, right now that this time I have to make sure food's made so kids and everyone gets to eat by this certain time. Whereas before I was like, oh, you know, I don't have to do it right now because I can just go on to Yelp and order some food. But talking about food, let's talk about physicality. We've just passed the 15-minute mark.
Well, let's wrap this up and we'll finish up with the workout right there. So ideally today, finances is about just choosing, again, making the choice to get in front of it and look at where you are. And if you're not where you want to be, okay, why not? And is it self-inflicted, or is it that you're not putting out to find yourself more opportunities, right? And sometimes it's not self-inflicted, or the opportunity side. Okay, so what do I need at this point to position myself to get out of where I am?
And break open the books. Don't be afraid to look at your finances. They're your finances. You need to, in order for them to be healthy, it's just like your body, your physicality. You need to look within and see what you need to work on within yourself. Same thing with your finances. You look into your finances and you figure out what needs to be worked on. How many push-ups do you need to do in your finances?
Well, it is like that. It's a financial workout, right? So get yourself going, and ideally make it simple. Okay. So you or your family, right? So you have your spending money, you have your expense money, you have your savings money, you have your reserve money, and then you have your tithing money, and really that's kind of where it starts, and if you can separate those buckets, and then don't just figure that, if you create yourself reserves, and if that's that point, don't just keep dipping into it because you say you'll get back to it. I mean, because you'll need it when you need it, right? So, and maybe that time is now, then you want to have it, not when you said, oh, well, if I just buy that, I don't know, anything there, car or something, or it's not, just think of it, something that's not a non-essential item in your life, and you're pulling out of that bucket. Well, that's when things are going to pop up. You're going to need it.
And don't forget to help each other. If you are in a relationship and one of you is more financially savvy, don't assume that person has it all. Maybe you guys are falling into some straits, or maybe it's good times. Ask. Make sure you know the financial health of your family. Ask and do your part.
They're all hard conversations, but it's easier to have the conversation while it's happening, not after it's happened.
Yes.
All right. So workouts today. I got to run in.
I got to run in too. And I got so I've changed up my push-ups now. I guess I was doing military style push-ups. That's what it's called, or tricep push-ups, where your hands are right here. Military style?
Military, yeah, with
military
elbows close to your body, yeah.
So I've been switching it up. I'll do 10 military. Today I did 10 military.
Oh, I saw this. 10 it's pretty wide. Impressive. Yeah, I was like, whoa. Okay.
10 wide. I actually changed
I better go do some push-ups here.
I challenge you to
enough challenges this week. It's the challenge is keeping up with the challenges from this girl.
The challenges of challenges.
Yeah.
So I did 10 military, 10 wide, and then 10 diamond. And it makes it fun because I'm like, ooh, what push-up am I going to try next? And I'm going to totally fail.
So awesome week. Last night I did 100 pull-ups. Then I did 100 kettlebells, 100 double unders, bike. Finished with crunches for 45 minutes. Last
night I did yoga. I went to I use a site called Yoga Glow. It's fantastic. I use their one of the Ashtanga programs. Did 45 minutes of that, and that worked me out. My arms were killing me this morning.
That's awesome.
In a good way.
Because I got a challenge from Hunter Thompson was to do 100 pull-ups for time. So I see you guys out there. Hunter. I see you guys out there, right? So I see what we're doing here. So, and I enjoy it. Yes, I do.
Hey, bring it on. Bring it on. Be like, Jason, why don't you try this today?
But my pull-up bar was the kid swing set. It's because
Joseph said something.
Yeah.
Hi, Joseph.
Hey, Joseph. Great. There you are. All right, guys. We shall see you tomorrow. I will talk to you shortly.
Yep. Talk to you shortly.
The second cup of coffee.
Before you go, don't forget, in about half an hour, I'm going to be jumping on with the Mothers of More, Mothers of Real Estate. Come back here to join us. We're going to be kind of diving into everything that's happening now, our wins, our losses, all those things. And don't forget, if you have any questions, you want some advice on push-ups, you want some financial advice, go see a fiduciary, or you can come text us over at this number right here, 908-224-6876.
And I shall be taking my 3 assistants, my 3 little assistants with me while we knock off some work-related activities and
awesome
kitty time.
Fantastic. And I'm going to jump into more. So excited.
Cool. All right, guys. See you tomorrow.